There has never been a greater time than now to invest in the Metro Detroit area, and there is no other investment firm better qualified than Platinum Real Estate Holdings. With 40 years experience and over 1,000 homes sold, let Platinum Real Estate Holdings assist you with the purchase of a city-certified home of the highest quality. Turnkey properties, screen renters, yielding instant cash flow. Well, what are you waiting for? Call or visit us online today.
Welcome to the weekly recap for the week of July 4th. In today's recap, we're going to talk about where entrepreneurs are getting property bargains in Detroit. Secondly, we'll discuss plans for unprecedented change in Brush Park. And lastly, we'll cover small cap REITs posed for profit. This week's recap begins now. Where are the property bargains in Detroit now? Small entrepreneurs in Detroit continue to push the boundaries of where to buy property, venturing well beyond the greater downtown in search of cheap land that often needs pricey overhauls. As recently as 5 years ago, the bargain spots for many small businesses were parts of downtown, Corktown, and the Cass Corridor, where billionaires, out-of-town developers, and influential nonprofits drive an increasingly upscale scene. So for several years at least, a steady number of small businesses and others have gone to various other pockets of Detroit, ranging from the University District on the northwest to the Villages area on the east side and Mexican Town on the southwest. One hotspot is Core City, just past the northwest border of Corktown and Woodbridge. Its main strips are Warren Avenue, Grand River, Martin Luther King, and Michigan Avenue. Core City's most familiar Michigan Avenue storefronts are the stalwarts High-Grade Deli, seen in the Batman vs. Superman film, and the adjacent Mike's Famous Ham Place. There's another more infamous landmark, the Highwaymen Motorcycle Club. It's an all-black cinder block building at Michigan and Tillman, whose members ran afoul of the FBI in 2007. Yet many are buying up property around the Highwaymen building. Here are a few entrepreneurs going beyond the 7.2 square mile greater downtown, investing in cheap property now. There's James Cadaro, roastmaster of Great Lakes Coffee Roasting Company. He's purchased a former firehouse that could become a coffee roasting place, a commercial kitchen, a bar tasting room, and residential. And then there's Jerry Bellinger, owner of downtown's Park Bar. He's bought 11 parcels, including former National Bohemian National Home, right around the corner from the clubhouse for the Highwaymen Motorcycle Club on Michigan Avenue. And there's a pair of 20-something entrepreneurs, Kyle Dubé and Bo Shepard. They are the first to open a new storefront on Michigan Avenue in Core City in several years. The pair opened Woodward Throwbacks, which uses reclaimed wood and other material to become furniture and other goods. Late in 2014, for $30,000, public records show. We feel lucky to have bought when we did, Shepard said. The building is still surrounded mainly by empty storefronts, but they keep hearing prices are going up and people are willing to pay those rising prices. They believe they could not afford to buy here now. Still, the main landowner in Core City is the Detroit Land Bank. According to Loveland Technologies, which tracks property ownership, the land bank has become a repository for the city property inherited from the county foreclosure tax sale when properties don't sell. In Core City, that means there are lots of empty spaces where homes used to be, as well as blighted storefronts and houses. Now, I'm hearing lots of business people, investors, are buying and renovating properties. Let's see what happens, said Willie Campbell, executive director of the nonprofit Core City Neighborhoods. Next up, we're talking about the plan that aims for unprecedented change in Brush Park. The Victorian roots of Detroit's Brush Park neighborhood will be getting a modern update when the city's largest residential construction project in more than 30 years breaks ground this fall. That's when the Dan Gilbert-backed Brush Park Development Corporation hopes to start construction on 20 buildings, roughly 400 units of housing on 8.4 acres in Detroit's Brush Park neighborhood. While developers are working to address concerns from longtime residents and create mixed design for the project, city historians and those who live in Brush Park say they're worried that the new project can't help but change the nature of a unique neighborhood that, despite its fading charms, is in desperate need of new residents and businesses. The Brush Park Development Corporation and developers want to get the $70 million project right. They don't want to design all the buildings to look exactly the same because they want it to look like it was developed organically over time, said Melissa Detmer, Director of Architecture and Design at Bedrock Detroit, the real estate development arm of Gilbert's operation. Work on 6 apartment complexes, 17 townhomes, a slew of carriage houses, and a block of duplexes was divided up among 5 architectural firms to keep the development from feeling sterile and contrived, Detmer said. The modern designs already have received praise. The company and team of firms won the grand prize at the Congress for the New Urbanism Charter Awards for plans that are expertly designed, respect its neighborhood history, and includes living options that will welcome diverse residents and families. The plans simultaneously revive one of Detroit's most storied neighborhoods and lay the groundwork for large-scale development in the city. This is unprecedented for the city of Detroit, Detmer said. But Lauren Hood, commissioner with the Detroit Historic District Commission, said she's leery about the scope of this project, even though she voted in February to allow the developers to make external changes to land and buildings in the historic district. Detmer said the Detroit City Council voting and approval process isn't suited for such large-scale projects. No one is used to this scale of development and how to talk about it, and then how to review and approve it, Detmer said. We're the first at this sort of scale, and we're not going to be the last. We know the right way to do things, and we certainly know the wrong way to do things, Detmer said. The plan was built on the request made by Mona Ross Gardner, a board member of the Brush Park Community Development Corporation, that sought mixed-use, residential, and retail buildings that don't interfere with or destroy the historic buildings still standing. Ross Gardner, chairwoman of the corporation and a 27-year resident of Brush Park, said, "Brush Park has been desolate for too long and that redevelopment should have happened a long time ago. We're working with them and keeping an eye on things," she said. According to Marvin Beatty, a partner in the Brush Park Development Corporation, the plans relied heavily on community engagement. The 6 apartment buildings will have about 20,000 square feet of ground floor retail space to be filled with restaurants, shopping, and convenience stores, he said. Plans for affordable and senior housing units come straight from community feedback. But the modern buildings will drastically change the face of the neighborhood, which looks more like an urban prairie than a downtown neighborhood. Hood, who rents an apartment in Brush Park, said she has mixed feelings about the changes. "It's a magical place," Hood said. "Now it's going to be another neighborhood in the city. I know that's unrealistic to think that it was never going to get developed." The influx of investment in Brush Park isn't frightening to Ross Gardner. She feels the city and developers are conscious of what they need to do to rebuild this city. She doesn't anticipate being pushed out of the neighborhood she's called home for so long. For now, Ross Gardner is relying on a lot of faith in those rebuilding the city to include longtime Detroiters in their plans. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And lastly, 3 small-cap real estate investment trusts, or REITs, are posed to profit. As U.S. equity REITs get closer to branching off into their own sector classification, the impact will be far-reaching, Thomas Bogelin, CFA and portfolio manager with Cohen & Steers, explains. Beginning September 2016, equity REITs and real estate management and development companies will be reassigned to the new real estate sector from their current place within the financials. Bogelin is referring to the new sector within the Global Industry Classification Standard, or GICS, that was created in 1999. The change represents an acknowledgement by index providers that real estate has distinct characteristics from other businesses, including financials. While property investment companies may share certain similarities with other capital-intensive businesses, their cash flow-oriented business models and ties to real estate markets have produced a distinctive risk-return profile. In general terms, the new real estate sector will bring increased exposure, media coverage, and greater awareness that will ultimately fuel investor demand, Bogelin says. Small cap REITs have always been seen as riskier bets than larger caps. They often do not have the diverse revenue streams or stable cash flows that allow them to weather difficult economic environments. like their larger cap counterparts. The lack of Wall Street coverage and investor interest can also result in shares remaining undervalued, especially in down markets, for extended periods of time. By flying under the radar, the small cap REITs offer better potential for growth over the long term. Bogelin, in the Forbes Real Estate Investor, said, by selecting sound stocks that be purchased at a discount, an investor has a better chance of outperforming when the financial markets fail to fully incorporate fundamental values into security prices, and investors' margin of safety is highest. Bottom line, the most beneficial time to be a value investor is when the market is falling. What do you think of small cap REITs? Please let us know in the comments below. Well, that's this week's recap. Do you have comments on anything in this recap? Please comment below. Thank you for listening and have a great day.
This has been your weekly real estate investment news recap. Did you find this recap helpful? Please like or comment below this video to enter to win a free copy of our ebook, The Ultimate Real Estate Guide for Residential Real Estate Investments. You can also subscribe to our channel or go to our website to receive the latest in real estate news. Our website also affords you the opportunity to view our latest turnkey properties.